very OG version of AI.
How did you find your style?
It's completely okay if I don't inspire you.
God, oh my God. First I have to figure out who am I.
The troubled artist.
When I get dreams, it's very dark.
Why do you think you're worth nothing?
Everyone called me up. She is probably a failure by now.
So awesome that we found the things we were meant to do. If people are okay about AI doing it, then why do they go against people doing it? Like just 1,000 rupees in my bank balance? What should I do and what should I pay?
So not everything is going to be my way. And my way does not mean the right way.
Yeah, you know what? Just let it go.
Hi everyone, welcome to the first episode of Let's Be Canvas. This episode is always going to be very special to me. The first reason being that today we have Maitreyi Kalaskar, who happens to be one of the greatest illustrator and amazing designer, also a wonderful friend of mine. I have known her for a while now and I'm so glad that she very graciously agreed to be the first guest in our show. I totally forgot to thank her in the end because I was quite nervous, which you can very much see in the podcast. But I just like to take this moment to show her my love and my gratitude that she accepted and she very kindly sat throughout the podcast and shared her journey with me and with all of us. So thank you, Maitreyi. Love you. Guys, enjoy the podcast and let me know what you think about it. Alright, bye.
We have Maitreyi today, Maitreyi Kalaskar, who happens to be a wonderful, wonderful designer of our country. And we have been discussing about design and the future of design. So we'll take you on board with us. So what's up? What's up? How are you doing?
Thank you so much for having me here. We've been discussing this for like quite a few days, months, weeks, I don't know.
Very long time.
Decades?
Yes, maybe.
Maybe. Yeah, finally I'm great. Like this is such an amazing setup that you have such a warm feeling and yeah, it's very comfortable.
Thank you.
With the pillow here and I can just talk for hours now.
Thank you for helping us out with the setup, by the way. She is a part of our team now because she waited for 2 hours and we have been just trying to figure out where to keep everything. So thank you so much, Maitreyi. Okay, so we have had our coffee, so let's get on with it. What's your? ठीक है. So the first question for me to you is that I want to know, where do you come from? And not in a way that, okay, I know you're from Pune. I want to know, how did you become independent art director? Like, what is your journey like?
Ooh, it's a big journey for sure.
Yeah.
But I think if we usually start like the whole answer from, when I was a kid, I absolutely loved drawing kind of thing. But yeah, I absolutely loved drawing. As a kid, I was never an academic person for sure. And my parents kind of found out through the textbooks where I should just draw on the edges of it and not read the textbooks at all. So that my parents kind of found out like, yeah, I think she's a crazy kind. Yeah, a crazy creative kind. So it's fine. Let her do her thing kind of thing, which is very lucky for sure. But after that, I am not a person who just sticks to one field. Okay. I feel the more I experiment, the more I grow in a creative field. So I started out in college as an illustrator. That was my specialty. I wrote a thesis on it and very bougie.
Wait, I want to ask you before that. In school, did you ever participate in like drawing competitions?
Yeah.
Were you one of the good ones?
Yeah.
Okay. So teacher noticed that?
Yeah, for sure.
Okay.
So I think a lot of my teachers did notice that I don't think she's academic, so we don't have to push her.
Yeah, because the same thing happened with me. That's why I asked you.
Yeah.
Go on.
Yeah, but yeah, it was like that. And I'm glad that teachers, some of them for sure, pushed me into the right direction. And my parents did as well. And I absolutely loved watching anime movies, Disney, Pixar. I wanted to be an animator, which was too logical for me now. But yeah, after that, I just can't stick into one general, like one specializing field, right? What do you want? Specializing field?
And especially with creatives that exist. It's very difficult for us to choose one path because creativity honestly is everywhere, right?
Yeah, like I see you experimenting a lot with textures and material, it just like opens a very different portal, which is beautiful, by the way. So, yeah, and so I just love doing that. And in general, I've gone from illustration to photography to graphic design to even UI UX and I don't know, so art direction and everything. So I absolutely love the whole process, and this actually makes me better to direct people because I've hit on the fields and I can actually technically see what is going on, what can we experiment, and yeah.
So because you were on the field before, you know how it works. It's very easy for you now to ask people to work, and you know how is it going to go, right? So that's great. Because with me, what happens is, even though I have worked with other artists before, I have also had many projects where we had different artists working together. For me, what happens is, it's very difficult for me to give them the task and then just leave them be. It's very difficult because we all have our own style, right?
Yeah.
Like I make a curve my own way. I'm sure you feel the same when you're designing something for a project, etc. It's very difficult for me to just let them be and say, you know what, karo, you go ahead and do whatever you want, and I'm going to accept it.
Did it take you some time to give them the freedom because we wanted in a specific way, right?
Yeah, very much so. It took me a lot of time. In fact, even now when I work with other artists, I first have to come into the headspace that not everything is going to be my way, and my way does not mean the right way.
Yeah, exactly.
Right?
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, right, for sure.
Because every creative artist, we all have our own style, own way, and it's not bad or good. It's just about how you're expressing. With that, I have another question. How do you see and figure out, what's your opinion on when you see a design and say, okay, this is good art, this is good design, this is bad design? How do you figure that out?
Right. I think with art and design, it's completely different things.
Okay.
When it comes to illustration and art, I think it's very subjective.
Okay.
Right? So anything can be good, right? It's a very personal journey and everything, but I think with design, it should be very functional, right? It should be very functional for the audience that we are creating it for, or the client we are creating it for, or the field we are creating it for. You cannot, as I always say, you cannot create a very childish logo for an IT company. It just wouldn't fit there, or it wouldn't actually give out the seriousness of the company or what it does, or if they do coding, it shouldn't look like a toy company. It's a very logical, practical standpoint that we have to go to, because it shouldn't be interpreted anything different, right?
Okay, so I want to ask this to you because you are the one who is working with so many commercial projects and creating logos and designs. And I, on the other hand, my first idea when I create artwork is to just go crazy.
Yeah.
Do something out of the box. Doesn't matter if it's practical or not, right? And I think that's the difference.
Yeah, for sure.
Even though we both are artistic, I think that's where the line is that you are more into the practicality of the design, and I'm more into the just
freedom, whatever.
Yeah. So I've seen many designers, when they create something, they sometimes break that rule and they actually, create something which is out of the box of being serious. Like IT company, if they are supposed to be serious, if that's what their first face is, and if we just break that barrier, what happens? If you ever want to do, how do you talk to the client then? How do you manage to break that?
So it all depends on the client you have.
Okay.
For sure. And the company they are in, right? The field that they are in. So for example, they're in a very IT sector, and if you're creating a logo for them, and if you feel like something very colorful, childish, or whatever would look good, but when all of this would come together, let's say on a banner somewhere in an event, when they are with their competitors, for example, right? If you see Samsung, Apple, or everything together, they usually always look from the same field.
Oh.
Right? Because another person who's an audience there shouldn't feel like, what is a children's company like Hamlet's doing in between it? And it shouldn't feel like, it's a children's company. I don't think they can solve our problems. So they should fit in something.
Right. That's such a wonderful answer, because
Yet not fit.
I've asked this to so many designers before, and the answer that you gave, that it's about comparison. It's about how will it look with the other competitor.
Yeah.
That actually makes sense so much, because it's all about that most function.
Because for them it's marketing.
Marketing, correct.
It's not about soul or whatever. Right? Of course, it does show, the logo of course shows their personality, their soul, but not as much as the practicality. I've seen a lot of my mentors say the same thing, that clients always go for the less risky option.
Okay,
right?
Is that how it?
It says how it, because they don't want to be very risky. It's going to be their identity for such a long time, right? It should be simple, very readable. It's not a decorative piece. it's their name or it's their identity, and it should be so simple that people should read it within 1 second if they're passing through a billboard, because that's their identity, and that's why people should come there and shouldn't be very Sherlock Holmes that, oh, what do they do, or because no one has time for that. You have another competitor that can replace you within a second.
Okay.
So it should be so simple, yet so clean, yet so logical, yet so practical that your audience actually knows what you do.
But tell me, I have seen few logos, okay? Especially the one that Aryan Khan's new company called DEY, I don't know how to pronounce it. Devol.
Yeah.
Devol. That logo looks really, I mean, it looks
Edgy, yeah.
It looks edgy, but the first time when I read it, I couldn't really get what the spelling is. And that's why I still probably don't remember the name.
Right.
But being Aryan Khan, Shah Rukh Khan's son, they can do it.
Exactly.
Also, it's designed by Animal, which is one of the most amazing company right now. Tell me your take on something like this. Like when a celebrity creates a brand and then they go crazy, and let's say you have someone, a celebrity who is your client, what is your take on that when you get that freedom?
Right. So there are two things again. Some people just go for the readability sake of it and everything. Someone who can do the whole freedom thing with the identity or branding and everything already has less risks, right? And maybe Aryan Khan, they already have a really good safety net, even if it doesn't work out, right? So they just have to show that personality. Right. So it's a celebrity brand. They already have the market. They already have the audience. So they don't have to think about it. So they have to now think about how to do the branding. So even if they put that logo as a decorative form on a shirt, people will buy it. They don't have to only think about, can people read it? Or can people pick it up? Because people will, like fans will. They already are set with the audience. So people who can take risks have done this before, like risky advertisements that we have seen, taking jabs at people. Even that is a risky advertisement, like taking jabs at politicians or celebrities, at the celebrity.
Yeah.
So it is kind of like that. So some people play it as a decorative form for branding purposes, to make like a shoes or like hat or like, out of it. Because it's people will buy it. They already have the audience. And some people go for the much more simple readability. I think it, again, like I said, I think it depends on the client.
Okay.
Right. But yeah. And like you said, again, the readability was not there. You don't know what the name
I still don't remember the name.
And they can risk it. That's what I'm telling you.
know that it's Aryan Khan's brand. So you're, on point that it's a celebrity.
And again, with the big logos, simple ones, I would suggest, like for National Geographic. Right? When we were growing up, we saw the yellow rectangle with the National Geographic channel written right beside it. But now, when they have rebranded everything, if you just see that one rectangle on a picturesque like a scenery, you don't know.
I will always remember.
Exactly. It's like a measurable thing.
Never forget that.
Yeah. I would say it like to the mentors and everything. Earlier logos of famous brands like Starbucks or Apple, they had a very detailed logo. Like Apple was like Apple Technologies and everything written with the, I think, Newton and the Apple and everything. It was very complex, very decorative. Even Starbucks had the whole, roasters, coffees from Texas or whatever. It was a big logo. But as people know them,
Then they went more artistic.
minimalistic, people just can recognize them from that symbol of a siren, and they're good to go. I think that's the difference between known, unknown. If you're a celebrity, if you already have the audience, if you can risk it, all of that. So yeah.
That's great. Okay, so with this, I want to ask you, what has been the highlight of your independent art director career?
Oh. Well, I would say there are a lot of like pat on the back moments, in our, and it should be that way. Otherwise, you don't actually get the satisfaction if you don't celebrate even small wins or whatever. But last year, I was like so happy about it that Oliver Agency, which is like, we know them, they have won Cannes Awards and everything, and they hired me as a freelance art director for a contract period of time, which could go for full time. But as I have my own studio, I was like, I would love to do, the contract period, like 3 months or whatever, you have 2 months or whatever. So they hired me for their biggest brand, which is Avian Bevs. It's the parent company of Budweiser. Garden, Corona, Seven Rivers,
Wow.
everything. So it was a lot of work for sure. And I got COVID in between everything, but it was like yes, I did it kind of thing. We did a lot of campaigns and
Oh, what a badge to wear.
yeah, but that wasn't the highlight. The highlight was like after my 2 months contract, September I took it off because it's my birthday. I always take couple of like 1 month completely off so that I can work on my own projects and everything. So when the September I was like, oh, it's done. August was done, the whole contract, and they came back saying that, oh, can you join again? And I was like, no, I mean, I don't want to join because I have my own studio which we work on, branding, social media, and everything. So can you take us as your clients? Which was a huge win. It's so now
Yeah, so they became your...
they became my client. So they became like one of my biggest clients on contract basis, monthly basis thing. So I hired, I
What pays off?
exactly. So I hired like editors and designers and illustrators for them, and we worked through like big festivities, like big festivals that Budweiser sponsors, like FIFA. We've seen,
I remember you telling me that.
yeah, so we did a lot of that work, and Lollapalooza, which was one of the first festivals that was happening in Asia. Actually, Lollapalooza came for the first time in Asia, in India, and Budweiser was the sponsor, one of the sponsors. So we did for that. So it was really fun.
I'm so proud of you, right?
Kind of.
Just touch the sky.
I remember talking with you and Vishal about all of this, like, oh, should I take it? Because it was like a huge responsibility. But it went really well.
I'm sure. That's great. At that time, when you were there in Bombay for this event, I was painting in IIT Bombay. Yes, and I had this very long wall, 1,200 square feet size, and me and my artist, the one that I was painting with, we both were literally eating, sipping, I don't know what all, inhaling paint throughout.
Two artists everywhere.
Under the sun, the weather, everything is just painting, but it turned out very well. So even that event. So I think we both had a very nice time that day. Yeah, that's great. Okay.
I think I really wish we could have seen each other's work at that point, but yeah, we were so busy. So
Also, I think that day it just clashed.
it clashed.
Because that was the day when we were
Inaugurating.
yeah. Alright, so there's something very interesting, something very controversial that I'm going to talk about now with you. So my belief, not belief, let's just say that how I see the future is that technology eventually is going to take a lot of jobs in a way that all the physical manual work is going to be done by technology.
Yeah.
And all the creative part is going to be taken care by us. So now comes the very controversial word Midjourney and DALI. And what is your take on it? Because when I started looking into it and when I started understanding what is it like, I realized that in 3 seconds, not even 3 seconds, in a second, it can create something beautiful, whatever the prompts are, whatever I ask them to. And then initially my take on that was a little taken aback.
Yeah, of course.
But then I realized that, we can do so much more. Maybe when I just give them the prompts, these AI options, they'll just do what I ask them to, and then I can take over and create my own version out of it. So the base of what I had to do, like sit down and had to do for a very long time, has been created by AI. And then I can just, add my creativity to it, make something meaningful, something very personal out of it. So I heard... or I saw from your Instagram that you have a different take on it. So I'd love to hear from you.
I won't say a completely different take. It's a 50-50 take. I would just say that it's not art if AI is doing the full job. Right? As you said, half work can be done by the AI.
Yeah.
And then I can put my creativity into it, which brings Sneha into that piece, right? That is completely fine. But giving AI complete freedom on whatever that's the masterpiece. You can't do it because then anyone can create it. I can give similar prompts. It's going to spit out the similar answers. So we do use AI sometimes. Me and my studio, we do use AI. It's not like we don't use AI, but it's for the initial process that takes long time to come to, right? For example, recently we did a lot of editorial illustrations, and they were pretty challenging, like in terms of layouts. Like go creative again kind of thing. So it takes some time to get the layout right? So it's like balancing colors, or like, is there any other interpretation of a cup, or of a tea, or of a tree, or whatever. But if you put all of these prompts in the AI, it will give you a certain answers, which are very obvious. But for us, it might take a day or so to come there. But if AI can solve that 2 days within 2 seconds, right? Shift our 2 days of work in 2 seconds, and then we can take it ahead for the creator. I'm completely okay with it.
Okay.
But I really don't like when people say that's our work, which completely isn't. Like putting prompts
Yeah.
in a computer is not ours.
So don't you think that when someone comes with a very different prompt, because these days I see, because I'm heavily into NFT, so I see a lot of NFT being done, and it's completely AI. They've just given the prompts. They've not really worked their art in a way. They've just, it's all prompt, but then it's very different kind of prompt, because you don't see that kind of artwork anywhere else. So as like your take is that, okay, it'll create similar, or it's going to be obvious. What about if, let's say, someone comes up with a very creative, very different idea, and then they give the prompt to AI, and then the creation is something very different, something very new, then what is your take on? Like, do you think that it's okay for someone to come up with creative prompts and then say, what, it's my creativity, so here it is, like, this is what you see is mine, and then I can, of course, mint it as an NFT, sell it for as many dollars, and then also, own it?
It feels creative right now.
Okay.
Because it's all new. As we are going through time, it is going to be a lot of chaoticness. Like a lot of chaos is going to come. Everybody's going to use it. It's going to be the most mundane thing you can use. That's why manual creativity is going to go high up in price.
Okay.
Because you and I can put prompts in it. A person who doesn't know art can put prompts in it.
Correct.
Right?
Yeah.
So it's like you just have to know the prompt.
Right prompt.
So that's not creativity. That's a very good thought process. Right? It's a very good self-awareness of what you actually want to see and what results you are getting. Like if you're really good at Googling stuff, you're good at creating AI. You're good at creating AI. Good at creating prompts, yes. But you're not the creator. AI is the creator. If you put yourself into it, if you put your vision into it, if you put your art into it, then it's your creativity. I'm not saying you have to start from zero for sure, because it's gonna keep on going. AI is going to grow big, and we can't completely say no to it for sure. But you're good at giving the prompts, I would say. You're good at the thinking process. You're good at copywriting. You're a very creative copywriter.
Yeah.
But you didn't create that piece.
Okay.
AI created that piece. It's as good as you hiring a graphic designer or an illustrator, giving that illustrator the prompts, and that illustrator creating it. You can't just say, it's my piece, because that illustrator created the piece.
True.
So it's the same thing. And
Let's come up with, let me ask you something, something more interesting. I think this was very interesting, but let me ask you
even more.
2.0. Okay. Tell me something about, because we are talking about AI and how it just creates something which is very obviously AI, doesn't have the emotion factor. And yet people are owning up to it, saying that, it's their art and living, having fun with it, being very happy about it. What do you think about the artist who, in the name of inspiration, they take other artists' work, tweak it a little bit here and there, and then they call it inspiration. And because legally you can't do anything about it, so in a way it's the artist's art, the one who created it, but you can still see the similarities where it's been taken from. Now, tell me, what do you think about it? Do you think that it's okay? Because I know that everything is borrowed, and the ideas or whatever, everything comes from somewhere, but then we also form it in our own way.
Right.
So tell me, what do you think about it?
I think if you're pro AI doing it, then you should be pro people doing it. In the end, AI is doing the same thing, picking up from other artists and doing it, because we see daily on Instagram artists crying their hearts out because AI has created something with other artists together, like a piece together. I have seen my friends who are illustrators who have worked for like book covers and everything, and they've seen their part of their creation somewhere else, and some person is selling it for $1,000 or for NFT or something. They are helpless. They feel their world has collapsed. So if people are okay about AI doing it, then why do they go against people doing it? It's the same thing. It's just that you don't have someone to point at when AI does it.
But here, morality comes.
Exactly. So that's why we need rules about it. And when it comes about inspiration, a lot of, whenever I talk to mentees, even you do, when we talk to mentees, we tell the same thing, like, inspiration is not copying. Inspiration is getting that one soul or one part of that creativity that you actually feel in someone's and putting it with your hundreds.
Okay.
You get inspired by their colors, but you're using your own style. It doesn't mean exactly copying it. That's inspiration. Like you follow 100 artists and that's why you see and how you learn. And it kind of you can see it in your own creation. But it's not like you cannot point, oh, it came from there or it came from there, because we have millions of artists, like from the start of the world or whatever.
Yeah.
So I wanted to ask you if you have ever faced it. Like people copying your work, or you having like a crisis in your head, like someone has copied the work. You know, have you faced that?
So when I started just checking these YouTube videos, I got my canvas. He said that, get these acrylic colors. So I got those. And then I started painting. So the way he taught in his YouTube tutorial, I started painting that way. So in a way, I have actually taken a lot of inspiration from these videos. And these videos is actually my learning platform. Many years back when I actually started doing this, I used to paint exactly how this person taught. I painted a lot of landscapes at that time, and I learned how to use those colors the right way and the wrong way. Yeah. And then, of course, I started painting my own. So I believe that if someone is taking an inspiration or even copying someone's work just for the sake of learning, go ahead, do that. If you're cashing it out, not exactly. That's
Just for learning is
okay. Yeah. How do you start your ideation when you're working for a client versus when you're working for yourself? What is the difference? And when you're working for yourself, is it more difficult to come up with something? Because then at least I expect a lot out of myself.
Yeah.
I won't do everything. And there's no one who is giving me guidelines.
Yeah.
Whereas clients, they give you guidelines.
Yeah.
That's the difference. So tell me your story. How does
this process is such a difficult. You cannot tell it in one go for sure, because I think process depends on per project, per client, your mood at that time.
Okay.
Everything.
Yeah.
The meal you've had at lunch. Everything.
Yeah.
If it's making you dizzy to just sleep and whatever.
Then be lazy,
Yeah. I think I'll scribble this. Yeah. But I think for client, for me at least, for doing logos, and it's a bit more of a logical work, not for illustrations, like for branding or logos or whatever. We have a certain guidelines to hit, a check boxes. Like it should get call to actions, whatever we are going for.
That guideline is provided by the client or you?
So half of them are provided by the client, so they can tell us what didn't work with the earlier designs. That's why we are redesigning it, or we want to design it new or whatever. And half of the designs or half of the, the checklists come from us when we do the discovery sessions or strategy calls or research sessions with them. We can actually tell them like, you shouldn't do this because this is what happens when you do it. I think we should do it this way because you can do it this way. Then another checklist kind of opens. There's a lot of testing that happens in it, and I think it's a very visual thing, right? When it works, you're done with it. So there is very less black or white, right or wrong for it. When it comes to illustration, again, for a client, you have certain guidelines. Like for me, a lot of my international clients and everyone comes to me saying that we have to hit that checkbox of diversity. So I have to think about the color scheme when it comes to diversity, what skin tones, from afros to like straight hair or everything. It should just look very beautiful, colorful, and it should just flow. Or it can just come. We don't have to just show thin illustrations. You can go from like different body shapes because we come in all shapes and sizes and everything. So there are some checklists that clients give. But when it comes to, I think, creating for your own, you have very few. Because you want to explore.
Yeah.
Right? For the first time when you're like, you didn't have any rules. So I feel at that time it's much easier for me.
Oh.
Yeah, because I just do whatever I feel like it. There is no end product. I think it came till like last year where I was very comfortable with myself doing anything I feel. I used to always think about it. It's not there yet. It's not there yet. The thing was, it's never going to be there yet. You know, every day you get new ideologies. Every day you're inspired by new things. Every day you want to feel like you want to add something into it. But you can't just work on one piece for the rest of your life. I mean, great if you want to. But what? Yeah, exactly. So I feel like sometimes just doing things, posting it, and having the closure about it is much more better because you're doing things. You get the satisfaction of, yes, you've done it.
Okay.
You've posted it. And now you can move ahead with that perfection that you have created to another level of perfection. Rather than just, erasing that things. So
Completely opposite to what I go through.
Really?
They feel completely opposite. They are like different sides of the pole.
okay.
So when I create for clients, it's very easy because I started my life, my career with commercial projects.
Yeah.
Right? So initially when I started painting, after that, I realized that this is what I want to do. I went with my portfolio to different people and said, I can do this for you. Pay me. They said, okay, done. But when I finally, got to a point where I was like, okay, comfortable, and I could take some breaks and paint for myself, in the beginning, I was like, but what? Right? What do I paint? So this journey for me was, okay, who am I?
Yeah.
I have to find the answer first and then express it on the canvas.
Yeah.
Because when you're painting for yourself, it's you, right? It's your extension. It's who you are, what you are thinking, where you come from, etc., etc. So when I started painting for my own self, my question was, okay, but first I have to figure out who am I? Yeah, let's go on that journey first.
Yeah.
Then I went on that journey. I figured a little bit, maybe, probably for 10%, 15% about who I am. And then I started painting on my canvas. Never liked it. In the first probably 3-4 years, whatever I painted, I felt like, okay, this is not me. I'm doing, I don't know, the colors are not me. It comes up. I don't know why when I paint for myself, it's always too dark. Whereas as a person, I'm a very chirpy person. But when I get dreams, it's very dark. So I feel somehow it's connected, which I don't know about yet. That's why paintings are very dark, but at the same time, they have these colors, vibrancy, etc., etc. I'm trying to figure out what I'm doing. Like, I'm trying to figure out why my paintings look like the way they look like. I love it. I love the outcome, but there's a lot of questions that, I am yet to answer for myself. So even now, after so many years, when I'm painting a series right now, and it's just for myself, the guideline is to create who you are. I just finished 3 paintings in 4 months? Whereas when I paint for clients, I finish 1 painting in 4 days. You see the difference?
Yeah.
So that's the struggle that I'm going through, and I think that's my journey because more than the skill, I think I have to understand why this and why am I thinking like this and why am I expressing the way I'm expressing, and also come at ease with it.
Yeah.
I'm probably not yet. We have to give space to all the layers. Our anxious layer, our happy layer, our confident layer, our devilish layer, our selfish layer. Maybe some of the layers I'm not yet at ease with. That's why probably I'm, constantly questioning that why am I painting what I'm painting. Whereas with client, it's like, oh, aapne bola hai, mujhe karna hai, I have the skill, why not?
Because we have the concept in us.
Yeah, correct. And we have been doing it for so long. It's like, muscle memory. We just know what to do. So yeah, that's complete opposite. And I think you are at a much at ease place of your life because paint you are okay with.
Yeah, because I had the similar experience long time back.
Okay.
That I didn't know what to do. Like, where should I begin? What should I do? And what should I paint?
Yeah.
What should I draw? Anything, a design. But in the end, I think I got inspired by so many independent, strong, confident people online that I feel like, you know what? Just let it go.
Yeah, no.
Just let your art flow. It's fine. If they don't like it, they don't like it. I think most of my thing was because I saw all of my designer friends being very conscious about when they were posting, how they were posting, and algorithm and all
Social media.
yeah, which I was very pro to at that point. But at that point, I was like, I think I'm kind of being like putting it in their thing, like, oh, okay, you have to like me for this. If I make it this way, would they like it? Rather than would I like it?
Yeah, that's more important.
Yeah. So once I stopped doing that, like, if you want to follow me, follow me. If you don't, it's fine. We have other artists. Follow them. It's completely okay if I don't inspire you. Or if you don't even like my work, you don't have to. Because I do. It's as simple as that. And I'm comfortable with what I did. Even if it's very simple, if it's just like one 3D S rotating, fine. I loved doing that. I like the process of it. I learned it in software. So I think being comfortable in what you do and just posting.
Yeah, and not really being bothered about the community or the society that way. Then how are they going to judge your work?
Exactly.
That, yeah, of course, I mean, that is also one place to be in, and it takes a lot. You know, it's a journey that one takes. So great. I'm very happy for you.
Finally. Because, it takes me time. I hope because I've seen a lot of evolution in your work since I've known this thing 1 year.
Yeah.
1 year. It's not much, but it's a lot. But I think I've seen a lot of evolution in your work, like materials you use, the way you do it, the amount of journeys you go through personally to get where you are. It's amazing.
Thank you. I'm so hard on myself that, that coming from you means a lot.
It gives me an inspiration to, like, what, I think I should do this as well. Give myself a break or go somewhere and don't think about work, because it had maybe really positive for you.
Yeah, that's a whole different conversation. Probably
I will do it in one particular video because I really want to even talk to everybody about how important taking breaks is, which people don't understand. Even I didn't for a long time.
Yeah.
But
yeah, kept working. That's what happened with me. I kept working. So my 4 years, I've actually traveled all across the country, painted in name it, and I've painted in those cities.
Yeah.
I've taken up projects, and for me to take up projects was so easy at that time because my social media presence algorithm was just working for me.
Yeah.
So every city I had someone calling me. So, I went from one city to another, didn't take a break at all. I painted a lot, got a lot of content for my social media, earned quite well, comfortable. But then when I came back, I was just so drained. And after that, for so many months, I just couldn't paint, So it was not really a win-win in a way because I lost a lot of me in the process. So yeah,
but it wasn't even a win-lose.
Yeah, it wasn't a win either. I mean, commercially and my career-wise, it worked. It was the best time of my life. But then I had to come back and take a good amount of break, not do anything for a while, not think about what I'm going to create today, but actually thinking about how am I going to pamper myself today. Yeah, that was more important. So yeah, I totally agree.
Yeah.
Okay, so with this, I'm going to actually ask you one more question now. Because I lived many lives. I told you I was an air hostess for Vistara. I was a teacher for a while. I'm an interior designer. And then nothing worked. I was, the failure. And then I chose to kind of turn it because everyone called me, okay, she kept leaving one thing to another.
Mm-hmm.
So that's why probably, nothing is going to work for her. She is probably a failure by now. So it was very difficult for me to, find what I want to do and then love it and doing that.
Yeah.
So that's why, because I had not only plan A, I had plan B, plan C, plan D, plan E, many plans. Yeah. Nothing worked. And then I came to plan A, which was my initial plan, my plan of my life when I didn't even know what plan was. So when I ask this to you, did you ever have a plan B in your life?
So I think it's maybe a very plain answer or a very boring answer or maybe a very interesting one. I don't know. But I always knew I was going to do something in creativity. I always knew that. And I was very vocal about it. Like, I don't want to do any academic stuff. Okay. Please don't put me in any academic competitions, any tests, exams, because I'm not good at it. I know I don't like it. So that's not my passion. So I was very vocal about all of these things to my parents. Because, of course, we live with them. They pay for us and everything. So we have to be vocal to them first, right? and then they explore it with us. Like, oh, what my daughter's gonna do or my son is gonna do, and so I was very vocal that I want to be in the a creative business like creativity in general. I didn't know what creativity, but so my plan B or C or D were all in creativity. Like if illustration doesn't work, I'll do design. If design doesn't work, I'll do, I don't know, UI UX because it pays a lot. If that doesn't work, I'll go to this and that. And so, or photography. I love photography and everything. But I always had these plans, but they were all in creativity. But now I found out they were never plan Bs and plan Cs for me. They were always somehow interacted to plan A. That I was meant to do all of these things together and kind of experiment in a way that I flourished my creativity. So like, taking photographs, doing illustrations on them, as if a monster is sitting on a hill that you took a photo of. Why not? As a kid, we kind of imagined the clouds having faces and everything. So, I never had a plan B. I don't know if it's a good thing or a bad thing, but
that's wonderful, because for someone like me who always knew who wants to be in the creative field, but never had anyone that I could look up to and think that, what, this is also possible. Or me and my parents, we had a lot of conversations and they are amazing. They did their best.
Yeah.
But their best, because they knew nothing about the creative side, it was always a lot of apprehension and a lot of fear. Out of fear, they just didn't probably nudge me into that space. Whereas for you, because you knew, I also knew, but your parents did nudge you because, they knew about this field and they were like, okay, go ahead and do you.
And it's so awesome that we found the things we were meant to do.
Yeah.
And with different learning. Yeah. But don't give up. Okay.
Don't give up. Okay. So this is the most important question, including all the other important questions. Because I struggle with this a lot. Okay. Even now, even though people say that, they can see similarities and when they see my art, they know that this is my art. I don't see it yet. Because I've done so many commercial projects, and when I come back to my own, I kind of feel like, okay, how do I express myself? Also because I feel there's so many layers of me. Like one day I'm this person, Maitri, tomorrow I'm something else. It's so difficult for me to define myself that, this is who I am.
Yeah.
So I'd like to ask you this question, and I hope that I learn something from you.
Yeah.
Because when I see your art, I know that it's your art. How do you find your style, or how did you find your style? If you haven't, if you haven't, what is the process like?
I don't think so. I know that it is my style. Like whatever is happening, it is my style, but I haven't found it yet, and I don't think anyone is supposed to find it yet.
Okay.
Because when you stop the creativity exploration again, experimentation of it. You just do whatever is you have done for the rest of your life, right? I don't think that's creativity.
Correct.
I mean, it's like the sky is your limit. I'll go for it. But for me, this is a different take on finding your style. So I have always told people, like whenever people have asked me about like finding your style, which I haven't for sure, but I know I am finding it somehow. Is like doing it in your everyday life. There are some things that you kind of love in your everyday life. So as I come from design world, and I absolutely love drawing anime growing up. I'm a huge Studio Ghibli fan. I used to draw a lot of Studio Ghibli characters and just being chaotic with the art like Studio Ghibli is. Colors, just whimsical creations, man. So I found like a center of it. Minimalistic design, practical, logical, to chaotically creative, artistic. And I found a very clean, creative, different proportion kind of art. Like I absolutely love long legs. It's an anime I do. Yeah, I see that. Long shoes and big boots and colorful everything, But one of the things that I absolutely loved about it, and I didn't know I got it from there, was, so my mom is an Indologist, which is the study of ancient Indian temples and all of that. So I've always seen and learned a lot of things from her when it comes to Indian temples and statues and all of that. So I've always seen the facial construct of the gods that are made for us is just like one line
Yeah.
from like the eyebrow to the nose. So I'm like, that is so beautiful. So if you see my style of my illustration is just one line from eyebrow to the nose, and then you have two eyes and just upper lip. Now that it has kind of
Now that you say it, it's so personal, and I can, because I know I've seen your artwork, I've seen your illustrations, it's exactly how you're defining it. And it comes from something so personal and something so meaningful, your childhood.
And you know what? It shouldn't just come from like one thing. So if you see again the new style that I have, so with the mouth lip thing, I wanted to be very creative, not just like one dash or something. So now I just have like the top lip.
Okay.
Like for the woman, it's always a top lip. If it's a man, I make it a mustache.
Okay.
You know, there is no lip, bottom lip at all. I don't know if you guys know 90s kids. If you have watched a cartoon called Kim Possible,
Yeah, of course. Oh, I love
at that point, she just had an upper lip. So I'm like, oh, that's fun. Then I can have that in my, you know, why not?
You take things from your story, from your journey, and you utilize that in your art, and that's what makes you so. That's what makes your art so personal.
Yeah, and it keeps changing on that because you're not the same person.
And your journey also, right? You're exploring, you're going forward in life. So, of course, wow. So, with this, ask her anything. I want to know, is this even I don't know? So, I'd like to know.
Okay.
What is your lowest and highest point of your life? It doesn't necessarily have to be connected to art or design.
Right.
It can be anything. But both the stories or both the situation experience,
Yeah.
what has it taught you
Right.
and where has it taken you?
I think it's we all have our journeys, for sure.
Of course.
I feel whenever it comes to being an artist, right? I went to an artistic school, right? I went to an art college where I learned fine arts, which is like the foundation of arts, and you do everything from sculptures to like block printing and everything. Like you just get your hands dirty, as much as creative as you can be. It's not just design, right? So at that college, I'm so glad I did it actually. I found so many people in my life. They were so passionate about the work they did, from photography to painting to, I just could see their souls in their pieces that they made because you spent each day with them in the class. So you see one person sitting on that painting for a month, not moving at all. And it was just beautiful. But in that whole process, getting artistic friends, there is this thing, I think even you can attest to it, is struggling artist
Yeah.
mentality.
Yeah.
Like art is passion. It shouldn't be for money. Or they make you feel,
God, oh my God.
they make you feel guilty if you're asking money and everything.
Tell me about it because I'm in that fine art situation with a community. A lot of people actually exactly. Please go on.
They love to portray the troubled artist, the overly emotional artist, and pain is art, and which for sure is. You don't have to portray it in a dramatic way. You have to pay your bills. Your tears are not going to do it. And it's fine if you have to, like for me as a designer, if you want to go from like just grow in general, you need better gadgets, better everything. For camera, like photographers, videographers, you need better gadgets, a good body of the camera.
For that, I need money.
Exactly. No one's going to sponsor you. I mean, if they're sponsoring you, but generally. So I had this weird sense in my head that I'm not supposed to ask for money after this line for a specific project.
Oh my God, yes?
Yeah, because people around me were asking for the similar type of money. It was like a long time back. I was just starting out, just passed out from my college and, you know, getting into that freelancing yet doing the job thing. I had absolutely like just 1,000 rupees in my bank balance, which was just, and I'm a saver kind of a person. I just don't, you know, the money. No, I'll save it for the gadgets I want. I'll save it for the next goal I have. I don't have to go to this museum, this exhibition or this talk, and I need this much money for this event or whatever. So I'm a very saver kind of a person. So I'm like, I want to do all these things. I want to see these people talk about creativity or get a better laptop because mine is pretty old. I can't do any work now with the one that I have. And who's going to provide me all of this money? So I think at that moment, you have that one person who just comes in your life like Jesus or like God, any Hindu God, like whatever, That person just saves you from a toxic mentality or something. Yeah. I think for me, that was Chris Dove, for sure. If you guys don't know Chris Dove, if you're designers, you know who he is. Chris Dove, check out his channel, The Future. He's amazing. At that point, he came in my life as not directly in my life, but I saw his videos. At that time, it was called the New School or something. It was in The Future. And I just, followed him. He had like 5,000 followers or 9,000 followers. And we had millions now. Millions. Yeah. So I remember I used to just ask him, do you like this design I did? Do you like this illustration I did? He has 2 Emmy awards, by the way, I think, if I'm not wrong. He has worked with like Coldplay and Audi and Xbox, and he's a legend, man. He kind of took that thought process away from me. Like, you are creating something without any rules and regulations. Why do you think you are worth nothing? It's self-sabotaging, right? Why do you think you are not bringing any value? Just because you took 2 days to create that logo, but you've taken 6 years to make that logo into 2 hours. So that's the skill you're asking money for. That's the value you're bringing for. Why so worthlessness coming in here? And he's a very tough love kind of a person, which I absolutely love, because you don't need someone just to be like breaking that glass and be like, why?
Okay.
Not like, oh, it's going to be fine. I don't want sympathy. I personally don't like sympathy when it comes to actual business prospects or like changing my head. Just say it. My ego doesn't get hurt. Just go whatever you feel like. I'll think about it afterwards. But he came in with that force saying that, why?
So you connected with him? Did you ask him these questions?
So in 2018, when I just left my job, which was paying me like peanuts for the amount of work I was doing. And I was like, you know what, I can do better in freelancing. I saved a lot of money, got my good laptop from the job that I was doing. I left the job and I started freelancing. I was literally freelancing like 2,000 rupees, 5,000 rupees for a logo or something at that moment, because I just wanted to get out there, make connections, network. At that time, he and I have been connected for 4 years. I think I connected with him when I was in second year of my college, 2014 or something. And he was making a series on his channel called Young Guns. The first series was all boys around the world. And a lot of people said, oh, why all boys? So they said, oh, the next series is going to have all girls. So he asked me, like, do you want to be part of that series? Because I've seen your dedication and we have been connected like for some time. Right. Sure. Yeah. Who would say no to that opportunity? And him and Matthew and Sneha, thank you so much. Both of them are just bang on bosses in this field, man. And I'm so glad that I found their advice early on, which got me out of the zone that you were talking about, the nose low, about thinking that, oh, there are a lot of people who can do the same thing I do, so why should I charge more? Because that person is doing for 5,000, I can do it for 4,000, just give me the job. Correct. Everyone can fight for 1 rupee, 2 rupee. Go above that. Provide more. Build your skill set more. You should prove, because no one's going to give you money if you don't prove. So prove that why they have to hire you as a designer, because your strategies work, your research works, you're a good person. You're not just there to do the thing because you actually care about your clients.
We're not very bare minimum. You're working very hard for it.
Yeah, true. So I felt the whole journey and the experience for sure.
I mean, exactly what you just said, that, starving artist, the whole, this whole aura and the fashion of being artists, but we are not getting paid, but we don't care. We only care about art. So because I am in the field of, I wouldn't say fine art, but I am painting on traditional art.
Yeah.
So I am in the field of traditional art and that's what I produce.
Yeah.
There are a lot of people on Instagram, they actually, DM me or even comment on my pictures and my stories and my reels saying that everything else is okay, but you shouldn't charge for your art. because it's for other people's soul. It don't make it commercial. And I'm like, okay, fine. You feed me. You pay my bills. You give me a good house. You take care of my family. And I will give
Why not? Yeah, why not? Yeah. Because we have sponsors for that reason. Like a lot of painters in the histories as well, like Da Vinci,
Yeah.
a lot of them, they had kings at that moment sponsoring everything that they do. That's why they could do it. Again, they were struggling for sure, but now it's very hard to get a sponsorer. And
No, I mean, of course, you want to, as Shah Rukh Khan very rightly said, that you need to have a full stomach in order to create good art.
sure,
So I can't be starving and I can't say that, you know what, okay, I'm a starving artist, but here, see my creativity right here.
yeah, I heard it from somewhere, some interview saying, what is the best thing of having money? Is to not think about money. It's so simple.
So simple.
Like once you don't think about the money, you're actually creating.
And that is
You can go, you can get inspired, you can create a masterpiece. But if I don't have money, which I've for sure gone through, not having money, I
we
don't.
all have as artists.
At that point, you are just thinking about tomorrow. Like tomorrow's meal, tomorrow's milk, whatever it is.
Yeah. What difference do you see in the Indian design sense and the international design sense? What is the gap that you see that we have right now?
Yeah.
How do we fill it? And what is the problem? Is it the institution? Is it us as talents? Is it something else?
I think I mentioned about this topic when I recently wrote a small article about red flag clients on LinkedIn. So I think it got a lot of footfall just because a lot of people were going through this thing. I think Indian clients, I think that's the reason why I kind of stopped working with a lot of Indian clients, is they think us artists or us designers as tools rather than solutions to something, right? They just want, all of them just feel like they are all artists. And you are just a person, again, the AI thing that I told you, right? They're just interpreting words in you and you are doing exactly what they have told you. And they are, in the end, they'll be like, I told all of these things. It's the artist didn't get to think anything. That's the thing that I've seen in Indian clients a lot. Because then they're like, oh, what if we put the leaf on the logo this way? What if it's turned this way? It's not about decoration for a logo. It's about why it works. It's about the meaning that we put behind it. It's not. So I think a lot of just Indian designers, Indian clients, there is no respect for the people they hire when it comes to the creative business, because they feel creators are just desperate people and we need them rather than they need us. But when it comes to international clients, they know a bit more. They are more knowledgeable about creative industry or design industry because they actually know what we bring to the table. It's not just, oh, it's pretty. We bring soul to it. We bring depth to it from an artist perspective, from designer's perspective. We bring solutions to it.
Why do you think that difference is?
Again, it's the practicality, right? Again, artist is like soul, free,
No, but why do you think the different mindset of Indian
education, I would say knowledgeable. I feel international people have much more, what do you call it? Reach for a lot of exhibitions, museums, expos, a lot of things. They have art installations everywhere they see. They have explanations where, whatever that is going on. Because I remember this one art and science museum in Singapore. I don't know if you have been to that, but they have like AI to like traditional artist everything, but they have explained what it is. So like a person who doesn't know anything about creativity, they can sit there and actually see, oh, that is it. It's not just an AI arm just moving around. You see what it is doing and why it is doing and how much time it takes. And you go on Google, you search how much time it took for the artist, and there is in-depthness to it. I think we don't have that much now that it is getting more attention. Like we are getting a lot of exhibitions, museum now in today's age, but a lot of clients are not our age.
Yeah. In fact, most of the clients are not an age.
Yeah. So there are still the earlier generation. So they don't know about art. They just feel we are tools like Photoshop or Canva. Like they can just tell us what to do, like a very OG version of AI. organic version of AI. Yeah, like they can just input words and we'll do it. And if something doesn't go right, they can just be like, oh, can we try it this way? Can we do it another way? So they just feel like promise. Yeah, which is just
I think this is what the name of the podcast is going to be.
promise.
OG. Designers are OG versions of Hawaii. As you mentioned education, I would like to ask you, do you think, now this is again, divided people right here, because people like me on this side, we believe that education is of course important, but institution for literacy is not very important when it comes to art, because art comes from your self-creativity, your own self, from your within. I'd like to know your take on it. Is education important? Like, is going to institute important to be a designer?
No.
Okay.
But I would say it's a plus point if you do.
Okay.
A lot of people think again the same thing, that I don't want to spend that much money if it's just a plus point, right? I still feel it's not just the creativity you learn from the institute. It's the like-minded people that get there is the importance of it. Like I said, the amount of people I've met there from all around the world was just crazy. The amount of passion you see, and then you're like, dude, what am I doing then?
Yeah.
Then you're like, I have to get on top of it. And then you go to someone to learn like screen printing. And then you go to this person to learn photography. And then you're like, oh, what if I do this with this? Okay. There's a lot of experimentation, and you actually don't do it in real life. Where are you going to find that community? That easily, forcefully there.
Not at all.
No. So I'm like, it's a plus point. It's not a necessity, but it has a for sure plus point, because our college community is still in contact in one way or another. We might not talk every day, but if there is someone like really amazing photographer, and I think that person is really worth the project that I'm doing, just because we went to the same college, I would rather go to him than go to someone else. I would rather go to her for illustrations, because we shared the class. I've seen her work in the live scenario, and go to her.
And also you've seen the progress, right? So yeah, I totally agree with you with this particular point, because me being a self-taught and never going to an institution, even though I learned everything from YouTube and people, whoever I could, it would have been great, more than great, for me to find the community in those initial years, because I had so many questions that, sometimes your internet cannot answer.
For sure.
Because they have these answers, but then you have more questions beyond it, which, at the end of the day, it's not human, right?
Yeah.
There's no human touch to it. So
I think you would have really loved it, because I remember we had like a live classes for painting, actual anatomy kind of thing. They used to get a lot of people to sit down for
I saw what,
and we used to just sit there, and that uncle or auntie, whoever used to just come and just sit there for hours, 2 or 3 days or the whole weekend, just sit and sketch them from each angle. Sometimes just sketch their hand, sometimes just sketch the pleat of their dhoti or something, and it was so peaceful. You wouldn't actually do it like this
otherwise. So right now I force Vishal and my brother to sit down for hours, which is next to impossible, just because I want to, enjoy that life process. So I do agree that if I would have been in that institution more than just the learning bit, which you learn from your experience and from your exposure and from your journey anyway, I would have actually enjoyed the community and the regular discipline, which also I think institution gives.
No, and it's like the accountability.
Yeah.
Oh, she's doing, I should also do. All right. Oh, he's doing so very.
Yeah.
Oh, which paints are they using? Are they using a pencil? Then you get that thing of like, oh, this pencil works better, or it can be erased or whatnot. You understand the materials. And then you're like, that person just created it very abstract with that realistic thing. Can I make illustrations with mine? It's the comparing in a very growthful way.
Okay.
It's very important. And I feel I have learned so much. I think that experimentation side of mine has come through specifically from college that I've attended.
But I also feel that, you learn skill.
Yeah.
You became disciplined. You learned a lot from them, but your creativity is a different thing, right? That you didn't learn from it.
It's a plus thing.
It's a plus. Yeah, understood. Thank you so much. Thank you for coming.
Thank you so much for having me.
We'll have coffee now. Fine.
Yeah, again.
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 Here's this book.